Hi guys, it's Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge, and today is Wee Wednesday. And today we're going to take a look at this knife by Sanrenmu. It's got a really cool gear motif all over it. This is the 4097. There's their logo. This is a backlock knife with a nice belly. Since it's not flat, it's not technically a Wharncliffe, I don't think. Maybe it is. Drop point. The names of blade styles is semi-fluid. It's sort of got some standards to it, but it's not black and white. And so, you know, sometimes I call a blade a certain style and somebody's got to correct me, and I'm totally fine with that. But I'm of the opinion that, you know, the names are somewhat fluid. Because the styles aren't static, you know. People can make the knife shape anything they want. And so it can be, you know, 95% like a traditional Wharncliffe and 5% different. You know, people can do whatever they want. This is like a saber grind. It's halfway up is flat. So it's a flat grind that goes halfway up. And aluminum scales with painted red on top. And then they've got that not etched in, they got the milled out lines for that silver. I put on the key loop myself, the keychain loop. And if you're interested at all in learning more about this knife, it's available from GearBest in this red and in a really vibrant green. Stick around and we're going to do a full review. This knife has been on my keychain rotation for a while, and I always enjoy it when I've got this guy out. Yeah, it's red, and so people notice it a little bit more easily, but it doesn't look like it's a dangerous knife in any way. It looks almost like a little bit of a toy, but it definitely is not a toy. It's a good, sharp EDC, a minimal kind of size EDC that is ready for doing what you need to get done when you're out and about. Or you just are in a place where pulling out a 3-inch blade is going to draw too much attention that is negative. You know, you pull this thing off your keychain and you take it out and you do what you need to do. It doesn't look like a weapon. It looks like, you know, a little bit of a toy kind of tool kind of thing, as I mentioned before. So let's talk about the specs on it before we get into more of the details. Let's start off with the blade. The steel is 8CR13 MOV at 57 Rockwell hardness. Very reasonable for a knife out of China. That's a Chinese budget steel, and when it's been heat treated well, it's a really good cutting edge. It doesn't require excessive maintenance. You do have to, you know, strop it occasionally, and every once in a while you're going to have to sharpen it. And but basically, you just use it and, you know, put it away when you're done. And it's a good knife. I have not had to do anything to this knife at all. I've not had to adjust the pivot. I've not had to sharpen it yet. I have stropped it, I think only once, maybe twice. You know, it doesn't really matter. I've used it a fair bit of times. I've been really looking for other knives other than Sanrenmu for my Wii knives, but nobody else makes a whole bunch, for lack of a better word, a whole bunch of Wii knives that cost a wee bit. You know, this knife is under $10 US, what, 11 or 12 Canadian, something like that. And it's just a rock solid, well-built knife, good fit and finish. It'll just keep on going. You know, if you go to a gas station, you can get a knife for the same price as well, but it's going to be a piece of garbage, and it's going to break on you soon or fall apart even. And a knife that breaks or falls apart is a dangerous knife. This thing's going to stay together. The back lock on it is, you know, solid. It won't fail on you, especially with this size. You can't put enough pressure on it to make it fail under normal use. Of course, yes, you can put enough pressure on it. You know, if somebody's going to try to push it to extremes, but under normal use, this guy with this back lock simply will not fail. And you know, if you just check it every once in a while to make sure, every 6 months or so, double check that the screws are tight. It's just not going to be a problem at all. I had to put the pocket clip back on it because I don't use them with pocket clips on my keychains. It weighs not very much. We're talking 1.7 ounces, which is 49 grams. And, it's a really good knife to carry around, either just as a pocket dropper or a keychain. I really find it kind of silly that these little knives have pocket clips, but who knows? There might be somebody who, thinks that it's really good with a pocket. So the specs on this, the cutting edge. So we've got a nice choil here. I don't call that a sharpener's choil. I call that a little sneak up choil. You can put your finger up here and hold the knife now with 4 fingers. It's one of those wee knives that you can actually get a 4-finger hold on it if you really want to. It feels kind of awkward holding the rest of it that way, so I generally just use it, this way and have a 3-finger hold. But the cutting edge from the end of that choil right there to the tip of the blade is 1.65 inches, which is 4.2 centimeters. The thickness of the steel right here is 2 millimeters, which is 0.08 inches. The handle is 2 3/4 inches, which is 7 centimeters. The thickness of the handle this way is 0.35 of an inch, a third of an inch, 9 millimeters. The thickness of the steel, I should have said that earlier, right behind the grind, that measurement that I'm giving you now on most videos when I remember, is 0.15 inches, which is, actually it should be 0.015 inches. Oh wow, because 15% of an inch would be pretty thick. 0.38 millimeters is what it is in millimeters. And the full length of the knife is 4.5 inches, which is 11.6 centimeters. And the back lock on it is solid and it works. It's a good knife. You've got the model number right there on the ricasso of the blade, 4097 BUX-LLM. And this other code that you might be wondering about right here with that funny triangle and the 04. That triangle, that shape, is representative of the year that the knife was made. I've asked Sanrenmu a couple of times. They're not very good with answering emails. I've asked them a couple of times to give me a list or whatever so I could see what each symbol means for what year they were made. The 04, it goes up to 12, so obviously that's about the month that it was made. So it's good that they put a date stamp right on the knife itself so that you can see exactly when it's made. Buck does that with their knives. A few manufacturers do that. I really like that when I see that. So let's talk about how well this thing works. Well, this is all belly on the blade, and it sharpens really well. It's also called a saber grind when it's flat like that, and it does cut quite well. Here's just regular copy paper. There's a push cut. I could just play with knives for days on end. When they're nice and sharp like that, I can make a feather paper. Yes, instead of a feather stick, Here's a stick. So clearly, in a pinch, you can use it to do whatever cutting you need to do. You never know what kind of situation is going to come up. I've got some USB cable here. It just cuts through that very well. And if you put your finger on the end there, or your thumb even, you really got pressure if you use your thumb to cut through stuff. It's not that thin that it's going to be too much of a problem on your thumb. It's pretty good. Paracord. I'll double it up. I've got to save some of my paracord. It just slides through paracord so easily. and you know, it just cuts everything very, very well. There's the 7 strands inside for the 550 paracord. Here's some 1-inch wide banding, and on this knife that's just a little over an inch there, it cuts through that really, really well. So this is the knife, the 4097 from Sanrenmu, and I got mine from GearBest. I bought it from my own cash a while back, and I really like this knife. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, even if you don't like the knife, please click on like. Share with somebody who you know might be interested in a wee knife, and please comment. I really appreciate the comments, and it does help the ratings. The more comments on a video that I get, the higher Google ranks the video. YouTube, that's Google, ranks the video. And thank you so much for watching. Remember, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb.